Hi, my name is Nurse Angela, and I'm here to break down the types of stroke for you. We have two main types of stroke. The first one is what we call the ischemic stroke. Don't be scared of the big English show. I'm here to break it down for you. What is ischemic stroke? Remember in my previous video, I told you how stroke occurs. In ischemic stroke, something is blocking those blood from reaching the site in the brain, from supplying the blood to that part of the brain. In ischemic stroke, either a fat is blocking it or another substance is blocking it in the brain. One thing is that this ischemic stroke is the most common type of stroke in adults. You see that fat deposit that is usually lining the arteries. The fat will be increasing, and it will now cause a total blockage of blood reaching the brain. This will now cause stroke. Remember that these fat deposits in the arteries can cause high blood pressure. So that is why those people that have high blood pressure, they have high tendency of having stroke. Hope you understand. It is not only fat that can cause a blockage in the artery in the brain. Blood clots can also cause blockage in the brain. So when you hear blood clot, it is not the clothes you wear at home. So that you know when blood congeal, right? That is what we call blood clot. So this congealed blood can come from anywhere. It can come from an accident. It can come from damaged blood vessel, especially from smoking and other sedentary lifestyle like diabetes or whatsoever disease condition that can cause that blood clot. Now, this congealed blood, the heart will pump it. It will now go to the brain, because inside the brain we have tiny, very tiny blood vessels, very tiny arteries and veins. This congealed blood will now go and block this tiny artery and vein. It will go and block the tiny arteries. This will now lead to blockage of blood from floating to that part, the other part that was blocked. This will lead to ischemic stroke because blood is not getting to that part of the brain to supply it, to give it the necessary nutrients that it needs. Another type of stroke is the hemorrhagic stroke. When you hear hemorrhagic, just like the name hemorrhage, hemorrhage means bleeding. So that means in hemorrhagic, it is bleeding. Now, what happens in this hemorrhagic stroke? The arteries that is carrying blood to the brain, either the artery have slacked, it now ruptures. That means it bursts. It will now start bleeding. Or something like an accident occurs, right? That will now cause pressure on that artery to rupture. Now, let us talk about the, in case of, the slacking is called aneurysm. When the blood pressure is very high, when we say blood pressure, you know what pressure is. When you are pumping balloon, you are putting air, right? You are putting that air you are putting is called pressure. So that is the same thing that happens in high blood pressure. In high blood pressure, the pressure of the blood that is passing through the artery, let's assume the artery is like a pipe. So the pressure of the blood that is passing through that artery, it is very high. What happens when you are blowing balloon? What will happen? The balloon will burst. So that is what happens when the blood pressure is very high. The artery will now rupture. You know that it is happening in the brain, Abi. As this artery rupture, the bleeding will continue. The blood will, that artery will continue to bleed into the brain. This one is a medical emergency. That is why all stroke, both the one that happens as a result of blockage, both the one that happens as a result of bleeding, they are all treated as medical emergencies. When you spot a stroke, rush the person to the hospital immediately, because there is tendency for the person to survive when they arrive at the hospital than staying at home. How about the issues of, so I know this herbalist that can cure stroke. I know this person that can cure stroke. If you spot stroke on time, there is tendency to prevent it. So that is why there is need for prevention of this stroke. Our people say prevention is better than cure. That is why we need to prevent stroke before it happens. How do we prevent it? Eat healthy lifestyle. Stay hydrated. Drink enough water. Do small exercise like walking. Don't come and stay in one place for a very long time. No. Check your blood pressure. If you're hypertensive, check your blood pressure. Meet your doctor and take the right medication. You know why? Like I just explained, if the pressure on that pipe, which is the artery, is very high, there is tendency for it to burst